Hey guys, so this week's vlog topic comes from YouTube username, I think it's pronounced Lidlurch, who suggested that I list my top 10 video games. Now allow me to preface this list by saying that just out of a lack of interest, I do not play Xbox, PlayStation, or PC, so no, there will be no Skyrim, Minecraft, Call of Duty, anything like that on this list. I don't hate those games, but I've just never really played them. And so without further ado, I give you
FootofaFerret's top 10 video games of all time.
Let's go! Woohoo! Kicking off my list, I have Doctor Who Evacuation Earth for the Nintendo DS. Now, as far as I know, this game can only be found in the UK, but my dad got me a copy offline, and I gotta say, I was surprised by it. It starts out appearing to just be an average kid's point-and-click adventure game, but as you get further into it, the puzzles get more and more difficult, especially the sonic screwdriver puzzles, which are essentially miniature obstacle courses. But the thing that really put this game over the top for me was the fact that it features incredibly well-written original dialogue voiced by Matt Smith and Karen Gillan themselves. Yes, this is technically a kid's game, but if you are a fan of Doctor Who, you should give this game at least one playthrough if you can. If nothing else, you will love the cutscenes.
Oh, no, you've hit the time defibrillating rebustler.
The what?
The time defibrillating rebustler.
Is that really what it's called?
I don't know, time defibrillating rebustler just sounds better than what I usually call it.
And what's that?
Well, if you press this, the TARDIS will stop being bigger on the inside than the outside and crashes in 40 seconds. Switch. See, that's even less catchy.
I love old school video games. In fact, I love them so much that I actually asked for and received an Atari 2600 for Christmas last year, and it was with this system that I first discovered Dig Dug, a simple arcade game that is unbelievably addictive. Now, I'm sure there are better versions of this game out there, like the NES version, or maybe the real-life arcade cabinet, for instance, but this is the only version I've played, and I think it is fantastic. The graphics are what you would expect from an early home console, but that's what I love about it. The blocky graphics and colorful game boards may be simple, but in my opinion, they are more aesthetically pleasing than most realistically rendered HD games released today.
Yeah! Grab your thick rim glasses, partially solved Rubik's Cubes, and pocket protectors, cause we getting nerdy up in this house! Woo!
What am I doing with my life? Over the summer, I pulled out the old N64 and decided to try and work my way through a childhood classic that I never quite finished, Banjo-Kazooie. Needless to say, by the next day, I was so addicted that my N64 pitchfork may as well have been glued to my hands. I've heard people refer to Banjo-Kazooie as one of the best 3D platformers of all time, and after really giving it a chance, I've come to agree. Between the character design, clever platforming, and fantastic music, Banjo-Kazooie is really one of the greatest games of its genre. Or at least, it was, until the dark days. I have a tendency to feel undeserved nostalgia for a lot of things. That is to say, I love to collect things from before my time, specifically the 1980s. Foremost among my 1980s obsessions are classic Nintendo games, chief among them, the original Legend of Zelda for the Nintendo Entertainment System. Whenever I hear people discuss Zelda games, somehow this game seems to go unmentioned. It tends to be buried by games like A Link to the Past, Majora's Mask, and another game which you may see later on in this list. But despite the greatness that came from Zelda's transition to 3D, I cannot help but find this 8-bit original to be better than most of the more recent games. I don't know, there's just something about 8-bit graphics and music that I really love. Okay, you may consider this cheating a bit, but my number 6 is Sonic Mega Collection for the GameCube. This game is a collection of multiple classic 1990s Sonic the Hedgehog games. Now, if you really wanted me to pick a specific favorite from the bunch, I would say that my favorite is the original Sonic the Hedgehog for the Sega Genesis, but I played this whole collection so much as a kid that I cannot help but include it as a standalone game. Okay, game 5, keep it moving, we got nothing else to say here. Tetris is okay. The original Tetris is entertaining enough to pass the time, but I've never really become obsessed with it as many others have. That being said, Tetris Attack for the Game Boy will render anyone who plays it unable to do anything else for several days on end. All of your friends will look like small blocks with hearts and diamonds and stuff, and I'm going too far with this. Back to the actual analysis of the game. Tetris Attack is not really a Tetris game. It shares much more in common with Bejeweled and Candy Crush, but unlike those games, Tetris Attack has Yoshis. Now, I know that there's a Super Nintendo version of this game, but again, the 8-bit graphics and music of this Game Boy version just appeal to me far more. I actually made an entire video about this game about a year or so ago. In the vlog, I go in depth into the game's laughable story mode. Yes, you heard me right, a Tetris-styled falling block puzzler with a story mode. You can click to watch that video at the end of this video. It will be linked in the end screen is what I meant. Okay, bye! Mario is a classic series with tried and true concepts and gameplay mechanics, so when Super Mario Galaxy released for the Nintendo Wii, everyone was shocked. Galaxy turned the mechanics of Mario upside down while still somehow maintaining the feel of the classic games. Now, I've seen multiple people make lists that tie Mario Galaxy 1 and 2 together because Galaxy 2 was essentially an expansion pack for the original, but for this list, I am specifically saying Mario Galaxy 2 for 2 reasons. 1, Yoshi's, and 2, the throwback Galaxy. After playing through Galaxy 1, I was left wishing that they would recreate games like Super Mario 64 with the Galaxy Galaxy engine. So when I discovered that Galaxy 2 contained a complete recreation of Super Mario 64's Whomp's Fortress, I reverted back to that childlike state of excitement that one gets on Christmas morning. You know you have something special when a game can take a level that you've played hundreds of times and somehow make you want to completely re-explore it like it's brand new. And that is my complete analysis of Super Mario Galaxy 2 based entirely on one level, because I'm so professional. You had to know it was coming. As soon as I said that I was a Nintendo fanboy, you should have seen this coming. The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time for the Nintendo 64 really and truly is one of the greatest games of all time, if not the greatest. And I'm sure that a lot of you have already heard this spiel before, so I'll keep this short. Epic story, stellar graphics, virtually perfect gameplay, unmatched character and art design, and enough jaw-dropping news to fill the humps of camel. Yes, that's right, there are 2 Zelda games and 2 Mario games on this list. And on top of that, yes, I do prefer Super Mario 3D Land to the Galaxy games. Where the Galaxy games were original and innovative, Mario 3D Land is all of this and more. 3D Land takes the creativity of Mario Galaxy and perfectly mixes it with the more traditional Mario games, most notably Super Mario Bros. 3 and 64. So you've got Mario 3, 64, and Galaxy all mixed up into one game that still manages to be original in its own right. Not only that, but this game pretty much solidified the idea of 3D gaming without glasses and helped launch the success of Nintendo's 3DS. A level of success that I'm sure Nintendo will be able to match with the launch of their new 2DS, right? 2DS? Appealing to a broader audience? Eye strain? Younger gamers? If you know me, then this should have been obvious. My favorite video game of all time is Metroid Prime for the Nintendo GameCube. Now, I've actually talked about this game before. I did a video review of it back before I really knew what the crap I was doing on YouTube, so for my full analysis of that game, you can watch that. Basically, I see this game as a masterpiece. I love everything about it. The art design, the graphics, the feeling of utter isolation and uncertainty, the overall atmosphere, all of it is just perfect. The Metroid Prime games are the closest I've ever come to enjoying a first-person shooter, but that's the thing. Metroid Prime is not a shooter. Yes, shooting is your main form of combat, but in this game, you will spend much more time platforming and exploring vast environments than you will gunning down enemies. As I state in my review of Metroid Prime, I bought this game when it first came out, but unfortunately I did not really get into it until about a decade later. It was Thanksgiving break 2011, and I decided to give Metroid Prime a proper playthrough. I would sit down in front of the TV with my laptop next to me, and I would play Metroid Prime literally all day while watching YouTubers like Live Lava Live, Nanaloo, and Mika Kitty. It's these fond memories mixed with the masterful game itself that has solidified Metroid Prime as my favorite game of all time. A good rhyme. I'll see you in a week, guys. DFTBA.